What it is, guys, you got Lord of Tunes here today, and today we're bringing you a budget deck tech video for Uzuri Switchblade. Now, I thought it'd be really fun to bring up some budget ideas for semi-competitive decks, due to the fact that, you know, a lot of the equipment and various cards always costs X amount of dollars. So I thought it'd be more fun to do a series where we're going to be doing some budget decks. And anywho, since Outsiders just came out recently, very recently, we're going to start with the leader herself. Let's get right into it. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get straight into the equipment first. So for our chess piece, we are running the iron rod plate here. The reason we're running the plate here over various other chess pieces is just mostly for that extra wool 1 block here. The only other alternatives we could do is maybe Threadbane Tunic whenever we have to full block our hands out, or potentially Deep Blue. But I found Iron Rod Plate to just be a really good card due to the fact that it just, again, that 1 block really can help us make sure like breakpoints don't ever get through. For our headpiece, we're running the Mask of Malicious Manifestations here. Good thing is it is also another 1 block here, so we can have it if we need it for that extra blockage right there, or if we need to be able to use its activated ability here to put a card from our hand onto our arsenal to the bottom of our deck, destroy the mask, and we're going to reveal cards until we hit an attack action card and add it to our hand. That could be very good, but odds are we're probably mostly going to be using it for the extra blockage here. If we really didn't want to use the Mask of Malicious Manifestation, a really great budget staple card I've always recommended to newer players is always the Hopes Merchant's Hood. That card has just been always a great card. If you ever have a bad hand, you could just shuffle it away and draw a new one. For one of our daggers here, our mostly primary dagger we'll be using is the Orbido class. Now all these daggers have the piercing 1 and cost 2 for attack for go again. The main reason we are using the Orbido class here is just because it is, if it does manage to hit, then it makes it where non-attack actions have -1 when blocking, or the next one. So usually into wizard matchups, or into say warriors, or other people who like to buff up their cards, or for pesky Briar players out there, this kind of shuts off their embodiment of Earth for a little bit. If you don't like these, we are running all the other 3 daggers here. We are running Spider's Bite, Nerve Scalpel, and Scale Peeler also because they are very cheap. For our legs, since we can't play the infamous black tech, good and faithful Snapdragon Scalers here. Again, we're playing a lot of cheap cards here, so just being able to pop this to give our next attack go again, to be able to continue our combo chain, is pretty good. The good old Pride Spider's Bite, very good staple card for any assassin build. This one, if it ever hits, makes the next time they block with attack actions have -1. Makes it really hard for them to block out with certain cards and makes it easier for us to get our on-hit effects. For our arms, we are using the Toxic Tips here. Again, it's another 1 block blade break, so in case we need to use it for blocking, it is always there. But we can also pay 1 to destroy it to where we could give our next attack this turn, create one of the 3 diseases. Now that could be very good in certain circumstances where if we're able to set up a really nice attack, we could just be able to get a bonus disease on top of that. So we're going to go ahead and scroll straight down into the main deck here. Now again, some of these cards are always subject to change, but I believe this is a fun version to be able to build, and it will play very well. So we are running 3 red Annihilate the Arms here. It's a really good attack here. Be able to cheat in. It is a 1 for 5. So in case we were to say pitch to swing with one of our daggers, we could finalize up with this. Will we ever really be using the contract though? That is probably a big no. But it does have a nasty on hit though, where it banishes the top card of their deck. Just making them go -1 is always really good. And the fact that again, it is a 1 cost means we can easily pitch any card to play this. We are running 3 Backstabs here. Backstab is one of our stealth cards here. Good thing about this one is defense reactions can't be played to the Backstab's chain link, which means if we ever come with any of our spike cards or any of our reactions, we'll be able to hit them hard. Now this is a pet card of mine that I like to play, and I think it's a very, very cheap card. We are playing 3 copies of Bingo. Bingo is a 1 for 5 that blocks for 3. For a generic that blocks for 3, that is very great in my eyes. And it says whenever bingo hits, they reveal a card from their hand. If an attack action is revealed this way, bingo gates go again. If a non-attack action is revealed, you get to draw a card. That is very, very nice due to the fact that we could cheat in bingo with any of our stealth cards here and be able to hit it and get a little hand knowledge. Now note, they can reveal reactions and instances to that, and if they do, then we don't get any bonuses. But again, this is a 1 for 5, which means we could swing our dagger and then come in with this if we need to on off turns. We are running 3 red and 3 blue Deft Touches. Deft Touches can't be played from the hand, sadly, but we could cheat them in via stealth, which is our main go-to, or if we ever get it in our arsenal, that is also a potential place to play it. But Deft Touch says whenever it hits a hero, you create one of the 3 diseases. That could be very powerful in certain circumstances. If you're going against ninjas, you could give them frailty or even dash. If you're going against wizards or nasty oldums, you can give them inertia. The variety of diseases is great to see. And the reason we're running the blue ones is, again, it is a blue which helps us with pitching a little bit in case of wizard matchups and having that extra resources generation. But it is also a 4 block, which means at the breakpoint, folks, that's really good. Getting into one of our other stealth cards or one of our core cards here, we're running 3 copies of Red Infect. Infect is the simple 0 for 3, blocks for 3, stealth, and whenever it hits, they create a blood rot pox token. Very simple effect here, generates one of our diseases. And again, if we ever need to, since it is a stealth card, we could be able to cheat in some of our other attacks here if need be and save this for later on and be able to pitch that correctly. We're running 3 red and 3 blue isolates. Isolate is another one of our stealth cards here, but the stealth of dominate, which means if we come with this, it makes it easier for our reactions to guarantee hits in, or if we need to be able to, or if we're looking to cheat in some attacks. Isolate has always been a nice card here, and having just the blue ones here again is just more dominate and a little bit more pitch fodder for us to be able to swing some of our daggers if need be. We're running 3 copies of red Nimblism here. Nimblism is a very basic aggro strategy here, and because we're playing 1 cost or less, this is just a simple +3. So we can use Nimblism with almost every card in this build. We are running 3 red and 3 yellow Ravenous Rabbles here. The reason we are running Ravenous Rabbles, other than it being a great aggro card, is that if we cheat them in with any of our stealth cards, we get to remove that attack trigger there, which means it gets to keep all of its power with Go Again. So for cheating in red ones, will give us the 5 power. And if we cheat in the yellow ones, we get the 4 power. Very, very powerful plays, if I do say so myself. Now we're going to get to some of our fun reactions here. We're running 3 red Razor Reflexes. Simple thing here, gives any of our swords or daggers, so scratch out the swords, gives our dagger essentially +3 here. We're never really going to use that unless we're looking to push for game. The main thing is it gives our target attack action would cost 1 or less +3, and if it hits, Go Again. So any of our stealth cards gets Go Again. Bingo gets Go Again for free. Deft Touches, Annihilate the Arms. Just about almost every card in this build can utilize the Razor Reflex. We're also running 3 red Razor's Edges. This is a simple 0 +3 to any of our stealth cards. If you don't like the red Razor Edges, I do like the blue ones, even though it gives you the +1, that is more resource fodder, plus it blocks for 3. Very good in my eyes. Block 3s are always great. We're also running 3 red Sedates. Sedate is just like the Infect, except this one creates the inertia token on them. Not really much to say about these, since these all disease cards have all similar effects. We're also running 3 red Withers. Wither gives the frailty token. Not much to say about this one, as it is the same as Sedated. In fact, for our only 2 cost card in the build, we are running 3 copies of red Wreck Havoc. This, folks, is the budget's Command and Conquer. If you cannot afford a Command and Conquer, Wreck Havoc will be your best friend for life then. Wreck Havoc is a 2 cost for 6, blocks for 2. Defense reactions can't be played to Wreck Havoc's Chain Link. When this hits a hero, you may turn a card in their arsenal face up, then destroy a defense reaction in their arsenal. Will that second effect ever really trigger? Maybe. But the big thing is, we get not hand knowledge, but we get arsenal knowledge. Getting arsenal knowledge is great for multiple reasons. For Rangers, it can screw up a lot of their arsenal plays. For, say, Guardians or mid-range heroes who have been saving onto that spicy pummel, this gets, you now know the pummels are coming and we can respect pummel plays. There's all sorts of things. Just being able to get knowledge of what's in their arsenal is just always a really good thing to have. First, we are running 3 copies of yellow shreds and 3 copies of blue shreds. Shred is just a very powerful assassin card. For one reason, they block for 3. It is ridiculous that these can block for 3. But the big thing is, target card defending an assassin attack gets -2 defense on blue and a -3 on yellow on the combat chain. This is very good due to the fact that we can make it a lot easier for our attacks to be able to get through and trigger the hits. And a very fun strategy that people kind of don't know much about, a little secret tech. You could say swing in with Wither here, and you go to reactions. They block off a card, and you decide to shred. You let shred resolve, then you do your Uzuri's ability to swap a card, to swap out the stealth card for anything else. It still will have the that defending card will still have the -3 or -2, making it ridiculous on how much damage it can get through. Keep that in mind, folks. And to finish out our main deck here, we are running also 3 copies of blue Captain's Calls. Captain's Calls is always a great card for a lot of Cheerio style decks here because you can play the blue ones because they all do the very simple effect. For the next time an attack action with cost 0 you play gets +2 or gets go again. This is very good for us due to the fact that a lot of our cards here are 0 costs, which makes it very doable for us to be like, oh, we have this and this, 2 stealths and the Captain's Calls. We could choose to give it 3 with go again and then come in with another thing. Or we could just choose to buff up any of our stealth cards to make it into a very good breakpoint now. Very multiple, a lot of utility that comes from the Captain's Calls. For our sideboard options here, we have 2 Inertia Traps. I have found Inertia Trap to be a very fun card to use. So Inertia Trap here, it says whenever it defends an attack with power greater than its base, you create the Inertia token under their attacking hero's control. I have found that to be very good due to the fact that now they don't get to Arsenal on their turn. Giving them an Inertia on your turn means that they'll play out their turn. Giving an Inertia on their turn means they can't play out they can't save what they were looking to save now. I have found this good. Yes, it does block for 1 less, but not letting them Arsenal kind of is a big gap and a good point trigger. We're running 2 red Oasis Respites here. The reason I like Oasis Respites is mostly in here for Arcane Barrier. Being able to pay 1 to have essentially AB4 plus a net of life can usually be good. And the fact that Uzuri could play on a 2-card hand, this makes it very doable for us to pay the 1 for this. If you don't like Oasis Respite, you could also play Brush Off, which does 1 less prevention for no cost. We're running good old faithful 3 red Sink Belows here. Sink Below is just a great generic defense reaction for 0 for block 4 and lets us cycle a card out of our hand. For some of the also reactions that we run that I like to keep in our sideboard here is 3 Spike with Blood Rots. The reason we have the Spike cards in our sideboard is due to maybe we might not need these for reasons. Odds are we're probably going to bring them in because we can give +3 then. But I like to sometimes not bring in some of these Spike cards because they could get very clunky and I maybe want to do some more cheating in some cards in. But they are here though. Spike with Blood Rot gives your next stealth attack +3 and creates a Blood Rot on hit. We're only running 2 copies of Spike with Frailty though. I have found Frailty to be in very niche situations, mostly against Rangers and people who like to use their weapons a lot. So Dash, Ninjas, maybe a little bit of Oldham, but that comes up very iffy. And the reason we are not running the Spike with Inertia is because we are running the Inertia Trap instead. If you don't like the Inertia Trap or any of that, you can run also more the Spike with Inertia, but I have found Inertia's giving them on their turn is a lot more powerful. We are also playing the 1 Arcane Lantern here. Arcane Lantern, very straightforward. It is an Arcane Barrier 1. We don't really need double daggers when we're going against wizards. Just having that 1 dagger to ping at them every turn is usually good enough. We're running the Nerve Scalpel here. Again, we're running all 4 of the daggers, so we have a wide variety of being able to figure out which daggers pair well into who. For the Nerve Scalpel, it makes it to where reaction cards have -1. This is very good into decks that like to play a lot of reactions, say Uzuri's, or maybe Dorinthia's or the Dorinthia. And I can't think of any others right now off the top of my head that play a lot of reaction cards. Well, maybe Oldhim. But Oldhim's is a ability, which is a little bit more trickier. We're running the Null Rune Hood and the Null Rune Robe, again, just for some basic Arcane Barriers. So we technically have Arcane Barrier 3 at our disposal here. And to wrap it all up, we are running also the Scale Peeler. This one makes it to where if it hits, their equipments have -1 when defending. This is very good against mostly into pesky Oldhims or people who have very good recurring arms. So Dorinthia, Rune Blades, Dash, mostly Oldhim. It's in there. If you don't like it, you can always take it out and replace it for another card. Now you're coming out to wondering, how much does this deck cost? Well, luckily for February, it shows us right up here that it only costs $30 for the entire deck. That is ridiculous. And we can also go straight onto the pricings here to see how much all of our cards would be. The most expensive card in our build is the Nerve Scalpel in the Orbido class for mostly around close to $4. Everything else in this build though is under $3, folks. I cannot stress this enough. For only $30, we can have a semi-competitive Uzuri Switchblade deck for CC. I hope you all enjoyed this video here. And if you can, please comment if you think there are some other alternative cards that you guys would do. And if you like the deck or like this video, be sure to give it a like and spread the word out, folks. I will be doing more of these videos here in the next couple of over time. But I believe the next we're going to start with we're going to work our way in reverse too. So we're going to be starting with the Outsider heroes and making our way back down to the Welcome to Wraith. If you want me to do it from Welcome to Wraith and onwards, please let me know down in the comments below. But anyway, this is Lord of Toons signing off, and we'll see you all in the arena.